everybody. Welcome to the show. I have a very special guest on the line with me today. His name is Jorge A Cano Jr. and he is the director of a new movie called Secret Scandal, and it came out actually a few days ago on Distro TV. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get to him before the premiere of this because I couldn't talk. So it's nice to be able to finally get in touch with you and talk about your movie. So welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Emma. Thank you very much for having me. Pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming on too. And I'm just glad it's not too late. I mean, I know it's going to be out there for a while, so people will be able to still get out there and see it. So first of all, let's kind of learn about you. I love learning about my guests and where they came from and how they got to where they are today. So I'd love to hear your story. What got you into movies and what got you into directing?
Well, that's a great question. Since an early age, I was always fond of movies. I love movies. And around age 7, I knew what I wanted to be. And I remember going to a theater with my mother. We watched a movie and I was paying attention on how they did things more than enjoying the plot of the movie. And then I told my mother that I already knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. And she asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a director. And the good thing was that she motivated me to do whatever I wanted to do. She said, whatever you plan to do, go ahead, but be the best that you can be at whatever you do. So that gave me enough motivation to continue on my dream. Although I studied business administration first, and then I got into the film industry, and I gave up my career to become a cable puller. Was a grip, but that was my passion. I wanted to be on the set, so I started pretty much from the bottom up and worked my way up. Then I became a best boy, gaffer, the help of the electrician, whatever I can get a job on the set, I would do it. Later, I became a third assistant cameraman, then second assistant, then first assistant. Then I started doing some DP work, and I stayed as a director of photography for 6 years. And then I started directing some of my own projects, and then they hired me as a director. And then that's how I became a director, and I've been directing for over 20 years now. And this I accomplished my dream.
Wow, well, first of all, congratulations. And I love, you said something very, very important. And that was when you got in there, you did what you had to do just to be on set, and you worked your way up. And I think that's really important because I truly believe that no matter what you do, there's no job that's not important to the final production of whatever you're doing. So nobody's considered insignificant, and those little things are seen by people, you know, that have the job that you want, and that's kind of what gives you those opportunities. And I see so many people saying, well, that's just below me, that's degrading, I can do better. Well, yeah, I know you can, but you still got to earn that spot, and you did that, and I'm really glad you said that, to tell you the truth.
Well, you know what? I think now that I did this movie, a lot of my colleagues ask me, how did you do it? If you couldn't if you couldn't have a crew of more than 3? Well, you know, I think I prepared myself all my life for this movie, because if I wouldn't been able to know how to light, how to make sound, how to do the sound, how to do props, how to do makeup, wardrobe, I wouldn't be able to do this movie. And that's the reality, because it was done between 2 people, and only 6 days out of the 60 days that we shot, it was 3 people on set. So that's basically it was I prepared myself for this movie throughout all these 33 years. That's what I did.
Although, love it.
And you know, it's funny because my previous productions before COVID, I mean, my smaller staff is 27 people. 37, 50 people in a movie. Gosh, I haven't had this type of production in more than 33 years. But it was something that I wanted to do, and I needed to do it, and I knew how to do it, and that's why I did it.
That's fantastic. I mean, that takes a lot of skill for yourself. And I don't get to talk to too many directors. I do talk to a lot of producers, but when I do talk to directors, I love to ask this question. And what do you feel makes a good director?
Well, I think you have to understand not only the plot of the story but you have to understand how you wanna show the story, how you wanna tell the story. I always said every story is important. All depends on how you show it. So you have to be very careful on how you want to portray your story in order for people to really get hooked with it and want to know more about it. So that's part of it.
Yeah, good point. You got to definitely capture their attention, otherwise they change the channel, and you don't want that for sure. So let's talk about this movie. It's called Secret Scandal. Now, of course, most scandals happen secretly and then they become exposed. So what is the plot of this movie without giving away too much? Because we want to leave some meat on the bone for them to go see it.
Of course. Well, as you know, all of us were pretty much isolated, with the world due to COVID-19. So what I wanted to do create a story that was based on what was going on at that particular moment in our lives. So I took the life of an ex driver, air cab driver, and since he was in isolation because of COVID, he wanted to get out of his house. He wanted to find ways to get out of his house and go meet his most significant other in another city. So they were able to hack one of the system of the CIA. So that's how he becomes the first CIA infiltrated agent from Colombia during the pandemic. So they give him a mission that he's able to execute without a problem, and then they give him another task. And although it was during the pandemic, we had some action scenes, believe it or not. And then he starts making up his team so that he can go after one of the largest villain organizations of America, which is headed by Danny Trejo, the MMR. But he gets involved with all these different characters throughout the movie. It's a funny comedy. It's like confusing, but at the end it all makes sense, and it's very intriguing and funny. That's pretty much what I created.
Now, did you write this movie?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So obviously you probably wrote it during 2020, I'm thinking, when everything came out. And you know what? That's actually quite an interesting concept, because when you take everybody and you isolate them, they get bored. We do stupid stuff, and I'm surprised we haven't seen more scandals come out of that. Because I mean, I see people that, like, during busy work days before this scandal, completely hack American Express and all these other places. And it's amazing what they're able to do. Now, imagine when everybody else is pulled away, everybody's distracted. Imagine what you could do. Right.
Yeah, totally agree with you. It was, I'm a writer. I'm an author of Penguin Random House. And right before the pandemic, I finished a book. I was scheduled to tour the book in 5 different countries. So I was pretty excited about it. And 2 weeks into the pandemic, everything got canceled. So it was like, what? But I know it happened to everybody. Everybody's life changed pretty much. So I continued to write. I wrote another story, a True Winner. I resold it. And then I said, what am I going to do next? Write and sell? No, I want to do something, not only write something, but I want to really do it. I want to reactivate the film industry, because I knew a lot of colleagues were just not doing anything. not doing anything. Like you said, we were all isolated, going nuts, no? So I think between within my nonsense, I decided to write this nonsense comedy, which by my surprise, when I start hooking up with different actors, like every director, we make our wish list, and we have our supplement actors just in case that one can't do it because whatever reason. So when they first told me, yes, I want to do it. Yes, I want to do it. I said, wow, this is great. So then I went to the reserve actors, and they said, yeah, I want to do it too. I want to do it. So I created more characters. And out of my 16 movies, this is the first movie. Actually, if you put my best 3 movies together, you won't find this length of cast. I have 24 very talented actors from different countries in one film, and this is unheard of, but I did it, and I'm really glad that they were willing to join this craziness and create this movie during the pandemic. Now, I gotta tell you, part of my idea with this movie is not only to do something to distract ourselves from all this craziness about COVID, but I wanted to send a message. And the message to all was with this movie is that no matter how difficult times are, if we work together, it doesn't matter what race you are, what gender, including what language. If we work together, we can really create something phenomenal and make it happen. And this is a proof that even with pandemic, even though I had to go to pretty much every actor's house to shoot it, I was I was the co-star on with every single actor, because although when you see the movie, it looks like they're working together, but we're not together. In 90% of the film, they're not together. Only 3 scenes there are 2 actors at the same time. This is something wonderful, and that's what I wanted to share with everybody, that no matter how difficult times are, if we work together with one objective in mind, we can make it happen.
It sounds like it was incredibly difficult to make, especially during a pandemic where you had to go to people's houses and everything else and then blend it all together like they're all there. That must have been crazy hard for you, and a new challenge, which is fun too. So how did you make that happen?
Well, the first problem or obstacle that I had is, what about COVID? So I said, what about COVID? Well, yeah, I mean, we don't want to get infected. So I was one of the first producers to become COVID certified. So I not only I was taught how to disinfect the equipment, but I also learned they taught me, and they certified me on how to make the test. So of course now a lot of people make tests, but back then there was very rarely people doing it, and at that time every immediate test cost $150. So I was doing approximately between 7 to 10 tests a day. And although I traveled to 3 different countries, 6 cities, we shot in Los Angeles, New York, Mexico City, Rosarito, Mexico, of course, Los Angeles, Hollywood, Cartagena, Bogota, Medellin, and I had contact with about 50 people. Nobody got sick because I made sure that safety was first. And there's a proof. Although I travel, and it was a difficult time, so when we did it, we didn't have any issues. So that's how I prepare myself to everything they talk about. We try to solve it. Even, but I cannot go to the set. No problem. I'll go to your house. How are you gonna do it? So when they find out how I was going to do it, they got intrigued. They liked the idea, and they said yes. So we did it.
Incredible. Now, you did say you had a wish list of people that would take a role or second role. When you wrote the script and you had the main character, who did you have in mind? And did they do it?
Yes, yes. The actually the this Alejandro Gutierrez, which he plays 009, he's one of the greatest comedian of Colombia. I wrote it with him in mind. First, I wrote the synopsis. I sent it to him, and he called me like, I sent it to him at night, and I was expecting his call next morning. He called me that night and says, "I'm in. I like it. I love it. I think it's a great idea. When would you have the rest of the script?" So yes, he said yes right away. And pretty much my wish list, everyone that I contacted, they liked it. Like I said, I have more than half of the actors. Their main concern was, what about COVID? So that's why I find a solution on how to give them that comfort that nothing was going to happen.
You know, you gotta be creative when your back's to the wall, and you were able to do that, which is great. And I know that on set, it's very important for everybody to be on the same page, which is probably another challenge for you. So how did you keep everybody on the same page? And how did you organize this so nothing got completely screwed up and you had to backtrack a lot?
Well, it took months of planning. And like I always say in my workshops, I mean, one of the most important elements on a successful movie, you have to have a great script. Number two, you must have a good planning. Imagine I planned for this movie probably close to 9 months before we start shooting. And although it was perfectly planned for every city, for every actor's house, for we had a couple of issues. When we got to Bogota, for example, we were told that they were on red alert, which means you cannot get out of the house. You have to be in confinement for 14 days. And I said, wait a minute. After 3 days, I have to go to a different city and then another house, and then another city. I said, you can't. So what I had to do, I had to pull some strings and get a special permit to be able to transport ourselves to one location to the other. Otherwise, we would be put in jail. But nevertheless, we lost 2 days. So now our days during our shoot in Bogota, instead of being from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., we had to extend it to 3 a.m. for 3 days. So that was long hours, but we had to recoup that time because we just couldn't lose it, you know. So, but we did what we had to do, and we accomplished it. But it was now that I see the whole thing put together, it was worth it, definitely.
That's awesome. Now, tell me a little bit about the situation that you have putting it together. Obviously, you shot it all, you got it all together. What were some of the most difficult scenes to shoot? How did they come out? And what was it like putting it all together?
Well, you know, this is Emma. This is one of the movies that I had to plan it very well because I knew that I couldn't reshoot. So I had to plan it perfectly, almost perfectly. And thanks that I did that, I was able to put it together. Although putting it together was pretty crazy because, like I said, when you see the film, it looks like they're together, but they're not. It flows nicely, but shooting it was totally different. So it took months of post-production to put it together, but we did it, and I think pretty much. I think every scene has its own little thing. I couldn't say that one was easier than other because it's when you create a production and you don't have everybody on the set or the same people on the set, it's pretty hard to put it together. But it was a lot more work than normally would have been. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, during a time like this, I mean, obviously you had about a year and a half or so to get the funding together. I know sometimes funding can be extremely hard. So what was like a budget for this, and how did you accomplish that?
All right. Well, the budget for the entire film was under $1 million. And like I said, I planned from when we did the pre-production, I planned pretty much from A to Z. I planned everything, everything. Of course, there were a couple of things that I didn't plan for. For example, because we didn't know at that time how difficult it was going to be, but we didn't plan for the test, for example, was not in the budget. And of course, you say, well, $150 is not bad, but when you add them up every day, 10 to 15 for 60 days, well, that's a good chunk of money. We didn't plan the fact that we're going to be stopped for 2 days in production. So you still have to make up for those days. So little things like that. But I budgeted the post-production trolley from SFX to the sound design, the coloring, which was done in Spain. So everything was budgeted and programmed accordingly, so that we could have it done in the time that I program it.
So what's your favorite scene in the movie and why?
I like a lot of the scenes. I think there's very funny. I even got 2 expressions involved in this film. I think that's a very funny scene. You have to watch that part. I think it's tremendously funny. But there's a lot of the pieces of the film that I really like. But I think having the impersonator of Barack and Trump in the movie was a good call, and it's very funny because it really puts together a few of the scenes that are all funny in their own way.
Obviously, when you first put the pen to the paper to start writing the script, you have an idea of what you want it to see and how you want it to come out. And then you get the end part where it evolved a little bit and probably changed here and there, or sometimes it came out almost to the way you wrote it. How did it come out from the beginning to the end? And was it better than what you expected when you first put the pen to the paper?
Well, this is the first movie that is very close to what I wrote.
Okay.
Because like I said, because I knew it was the pandemic, and at that time, at the highest point, I wouldn't be able to reshoot. I wouldn't be able to really make a lot of changes. So a lot of times you improve while you're in the progress of producing, and if it doesn't work, we can always come back and reshoot. But this time, I knew I couldn't do that. So it's very close to what I wrote, but of course, I allowed the actors to also, share with me what they had in mind on their character, and somehow we worked together, we blended in, and that enhanced the movie. But to answer to your question, overall, I think the movie came out better than what I expected. I really did like it a lot the way it came out.
I like that. So before we get into how people can see this and stuff, I always like to ask everybody that comes on my show, what advice would you give to somebody that wants to follow in your footsteps and be a director, or maybe an actor or an actress? What type of advice would you give to them?
That's a great question, Emma. Besides doing besides doing films, which I've been doing it for over 33 years, I also do master workshops on how to create content, how to monetize, how to do it right. And the reason I do that is because I didn't have a mentor. If I had a mentor 35 years ago, gosh, I would have accomplished a lot more in 15 years than I did in 33 years. And that's what I do. I like to share my knowledge. I like to share the standards of the industry, the formulas, inclusive my secrets. And that's why I have students that work in Hollywood at the highest levels, and they did it in 3 years, 6 years. And a lot of my colleagues says that's what you get for teaching them what you need, what it took you 30 some years to learn. But that's the whole idea. I mean, if you don't really give them the right tools to really make it in less period of time, then you're not a good mentor. So I feel honored. Honestly, I feel really excited and honored when I get all these emails of successful stories thanks to the tools that they learn through my workshops. So my advice to all these new entrepreneurs, producers, directors is get knowledge, learn from somebody else already has been there, not necessarily somebody that knows the information, that gets informed. No, somebody that has really done the work. And believe me, nobody can take away what I have accomplished in my years. I don't feel more or less by sharing my knowledge at all. Quite the contrary. Like, they can give us the same tools to do something, and maybe one will be more successful than the other one because apply the tools in a different manner. That's fine, but get knowledge, become knowledgeable of what's going on. I see right now the problem that I see with a lot of filmmakers, they produce like there's no tomorrow, and they have some wonderful content, but they don't monetize. So that's what I do in my workshop. I told you how to monetize from day one. I have had a lot of actors that took my course in Hollywood, and now they produce their own stuff, and they make more money as a producer, actor in their own social media than what people can pay them. And that's wonderful because they utilize those tools to their benefit in order to be successful. So that's my advice. Get knowledge from people that have been there. Get good mentor. And if I can be of any help, if you allow me to, I'll share my social media so they can follow me. And pretty soon I'm gonna do something really wonderful for people that wanna learn how to do it right and how to do it fast.
And actually, that's what I was going to right now, because we're going to do that. But to prove that you know what you're doing, I see a lot of amazing trophies behind you that are really pretty, and I'm sure that each one of them was very well earned, and it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get them. So you can obviously see, I can obviously say that you do know what you're talking about. So next part is that we got to tell everybody where they can see the movie, and of course any websites that you have or social media that people can follow you and get knowledge from you and follow out, see what you got coming up. So take it away.
Sure. Well, I invite everybody to watch Secret Scandal on Distro TV. Distro TV is a platform that I love, not only because of their content, the diversity of the content they have, but I like it because it's free of charge. It doesn't cost you anything to watch the movie. So they decided with this movie to launch their platform throughout Latin America. So I was really excited and honored to be part of this launch. And although they've been over 3 years here in the US, but now they're launching it all over the world. And I invite everybody to watch it. You just download the app. No subscriptions required, no registration, no credit card. Just download the app and watch the movie for free and all the rest of the programming. If you want to follow, if you want to know what I'm about to do next and where you can find me to do for my workshops, please follow me on Instagram at George with a J, Jorge, Cano, Cano, TV. Jorge Cano TV. You can follow me on Instagram, and you'll find out about all the other stuff that we're going to be doing and about my workshops. And I'll be more than happy to guide you and be your mentor or your consultant in production or post production. By all means, I want everybody to be successful at what they do, what they love doing. So let's do it together.
George, thank you so much for coming on and being an amazing guest. I'm so proud of you for being able to overcome these little obstacles to create a movie that you still love, and it kind of solidifies what we went through. And it was tough for everybody. So that will forever be a part of history as long as this movie's available for people. And that's important, so that way we don't forget what we went through and how we got to where we are. And I would love to see you come back on and talk to me again about new things that you got coming out for sure in the future.
I would love to, Emma. Thank you very much for inviting me. And anytime you can call me in.
Thank you. And guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Got to pay bills. So we'll be back in 2. Don't go anywhere.
Like, OMG, you were on TV and junk.